Good afternoon. My name is Thiaba Camara Sy. I am the chair of the ISD Board of Trustees, and on behalf of my esteemed colleagues on the ISD Board, I would like to bring you our greetings and an update on how the school is addressing the current reality of the COVID-19 pandemic as we enter our second week of online learning at ISD. We are pleased that our school, under the leadership of its director, Dr. Alan Knobloch, and the senior administration team, has been able to pivot to virtual teaching in this time of crisis to allow our children to continue with their learning. With a large part of our students, parents, faculty, administration, and trustees scattered on 3 continents, the board continues to work closely with the school's management to monitor the situation on a day-to-day basis. The ISD administration has gone to great efforts to maintain active communications on the school's actions and to provide tools to ISD families as part of the transition to virtual schooling. I encourage you all to actively use the ISD website, as there is a wealth of archived communications and resources to help guide our transition to virtual learning. ISD management and its board are committed to continue to work as a unified force with the ISD community to allow for our children to continue their education in this difficult and changing environment. The ISD director, with board approval, began designing a strategy in early February 2020 as the coronavirus was spreading in China, and proposed contingency plans to the board should the virus come to Senegal. We do have an infectious disease protocol for ISD that is based on international school standards, which we used during the Ebola crisis 5 years ago. In accordance with that protocol, the school started regular consultations with the US Embassy Medical Unit, professional medical sources, the CDC, and Senegalese health services in order to make decisions based on information and advice provided by these sources and on official directives from the government of Senegal. As soon as the first case of COVID-19 was declared on March 2nd in Senegal, ISD put together an emergency action team, EAT, comprised of the educational and operational leaders of the school, along with the school's nurse and a counselor. On March 3rd, through virtual voting, the board approved the first policy measure related to COVID-19 and announced to the ISD community that any student, parent, or employee, or a member of their household who had recently visited a CDC Level 3 country would be restricted from campus for 15 days after they have left the designated country, provided they are symptoms-free. During its March 6th meeting, the board validated the ISD EAT's plan in response to COVID-19. As we neared spring break, and when most of Europe was being placed on the CDC Level 3 warning, the board held an emergency meeting on March 13th to discuss the EAT's recommendation that, for safety reasons, ISD not open school after spring break. Aware that the President of the Republic might announce an all-school closure shortly, the board gave itself 72 hours to announce a 15-day closure. President Macky Sall announced on March 15th that all schools in Senegal were to remain closed from March 16th until April 6th. So ISD naturally complied. In addition to following President Sall's orders, ISD also recognized the following. Number one, we would have no effective way of ensuring that children whose families traveled to CDC Level 3 countries remained off campus for the required 15-day quarantine. Some students had told their teachers that their family was going to Europe for spring break no matter what. A number of parents who were not traveling had said they would be keeping their children home from ISD for fear of them interacting with children who'd been in Europe. There were concerns that we could have a large number of students not attend school either because of the travel restrictions or due to parents' concerns. Number two, the teachers shared this concern, and there was rising anxiety among faculty about teaching students who may have been in CDC Level 3 countries. And finally, number three, there were additional concerns about not having enough teachers to properly run face-to-face classes in the secondary school. At that time of spring break, we had 9 teachers, 8 of whom from secondary school, who had been traveling to non-Level 3 countries but could not return to Dhaka due to the flight restrictions established by the Senegalese and other governments. As part of our contingency plan, Nika Johnson, our Director of Innovation, had begun on March 9th to deliver training sessions on virtual schooling to our teachers, modeling from schools around the world who'd already been conducting online teaching for several weeks. During all of spring break, the board was in touch with the director every single day, including Saturday and Sunday. Our pre-scheduled monthly board meeting was held online on March 26th, and following our invitation for all community members to attend, 19 parents confirmed and were sent a Zoom link to participate as observers. Most of the meeting was dedicated to answering various questions sent by those parents, and continued with an update on the COVID-19 situation in relation to the school and the community at large. Our discussions included the intention to continue virtual school through the academic calendar ending on June 10th, as well as viable options for holding the annual general meeting slated for May 15th. On March 31st, the board held an executive session and decided on continuing online learning for the rest of the school year and not reopen the physical school this year. As we all know, on April 1st, President Macky Sall extended the stay-at-home order for school children until May 4th. Of course, we cannot predict the future. But based on the evolution of the pandemic since it started on November 17, 2019, we assume that COVID-19 will not magically disappear from the world scene in the coming weeks. Given the international nature of our community and our inability to control people's movements, we felt it would be neither reasonable nor responsible to prioritize face-to-face education over our collective and individual health. Also, In this situation of brutal and rampant uncertainty, as corporations and embassies started recalling their personnel, we wanted to give the community the ability to make an informed decision about whether to stay or to leave the country until August, to be near loved ones, knowing that they wouldn't miss out on a reopening of the school. The safety of our children, teachers, and staff is our top priority. And in this regard, we sincerely believe that the best solution in the context we live in is to keep the campus closed and to focus on the continuous improvement of our online education program. This being said, the administration is already getting prepared for activities that can be provided on campus as soon as it is safe to reopen it. And that includes setting up a summer camp for families who want it, free of charge. Also, and in keeping with its mission, the board has started working on recovery scenarios and strategies to be implemented for the next school year. I'm hearing complaints from some of our members and even requests for a refund of tuition. I would just like to remind everyone that while the campus might be closed, online learning is continuing, and more than 80% of our expenditures go to salaries. ISD is still paying faculty and staff and maintaining our school's premises, and have incurred additional expenses related to COVID-19 prevention measures, as well as expenses to pivot to virtual learning. Based on ISD's policy, no refunds are due to families at this stage of the school year, and we will not break this rule. For your information, we still did the calculation. And if we were to reimburse the savings made over 12 weeks of electricity and water consumption, each family would receive $58 per child. The Finance Committee is currently working on the financial impacts of the crisis and on various scenarios that could be implemented next year. At the end of its work, it will submit a recommendation to the board on the best way forward, and as soon as a decision is made, we will inform the community. In this time of anguish, grief, and uncertainty that has most of us grappling with complicated family and work situations, I would like to recognize our staff, faculty, and administration who are adapting fast to these new circumstances and are doing their best to ensure that our children continue to receive the best academic content while also supporting them in their growth and helping them to manage their own fears about COVID-19 and the future. I'm impressed by the agility our teachers have shown in adapting to this crisis. They have had very little time to start online education and are working hard every day to improve their new methods while responding to family demands and dealing with their own anxieties and family concerns. Not one of us prefers online learning, but these professionals are doing all they can to make it possible for our children to complete the school year with the skills and knowledge they need to advance to their next grade. My hat is off to them. I also want to acknowledge all of you, of us really, the parents of ISD. Our kids need us more than ever to learn and to grow at home. We're not teachers, but we're now standing in every day to support the good work the teachers are doing. It is hard. We also have jobs, houses to manage, and our own fears and family issues to deal with. Maintaining our sense of purpose and community in these trying times requires all of us to be patient, tolerant, and most of all, empathetic towards one another's concerns, worries, and difficulties. I would also like to take this opportunity to join the long list of parents who sent thank you messages to the director and publicly express the board's gratitude for the tremendous work Dr. Knobloch is doing to serve our community. He's been on the spot from the beginning of this crisis, managing very difficult situations and sensitive information. In spite of his own fatigue and stress, he's made it a point to deliver daily briefings to the community, sharing information gathered from his widespread network of other heads of international schools, members of the diplomatic corps, the CDC, the United Nations, and the Senegalese government. A significant number of our families, administration, faculty, staff, and board members have chosen to travel back home. A member of our community has been tested positive and fortunately since then fully recovered. Another has unfortunately lost her father to COVID-19 last week in Italy. All through this, Dr. Knobloch has always been present to provide information, manage situations, assist with logistics, and give guidance, comfort, and care, which is above and beyond what we could reasonably expect from him from a professional standpoint. Finally, I'd just like to take a moment to simply acknowledge how difficult this situation is on all of us. None of us knows exactly where this crisis will take us, nor how our world will change because of it. I hope we can continue to face it together as a community. I ask you to please share your concerns about the school with me at boardbox@isd.sn or to approach any other member of the board. We always want to interact with parents, and now more than ever. We share your worries, and all your proactive suggestions are welcome. Together we will continue to be strong and ride out this ordeal. Until then, stay safe and be healthy.